Hi everyone, welcome back to the Container Garden series, where I'm sharing with you how to grow a lot of vegetables in containers, no matter how little or how much space you have. And on today's video, we're going to get our vegetables planted in our Smart Pots containers. And I'm also going to share with you 3 easy free trellises that you can make so that you can make the best use of your container garden space. We're growing our container garden in the 7 by 11 space. Remember, it started like this, and we're turning it into this, a garden space for growing lots of yummy veggies. We're partnering with Smart Pots for this series, and we're growing in Smart Pots fabric containers. And when you're planting vegetables in containers, it's actually a whole lot easier than planting vegetables in your garden bed because there's no digging required. You just pop up the containers, fill them with soil. The soil is nice and loose, so it really makes for easy planting. Now, when you're growing in containers, a key point to remember is that you want to grow compact vegetables that are smaller in size, but still very productive so that you can grow a lot of vegetables in your small space. And the vegetables we're going to be planting today are from the Cali Kim Container Garden Seed Collection. But before we plant our vegetables, I want to get the trellises installed so they're all ready to roll as soon as we get our veggies planted. Now, when you're growing in containers, and especially in a small space, you want to grow up, not out, so you can grow a lot of veggies in a little bit of space. Now, I'm really excited to show you these trellises. This one, you guys, is so easy. It simply uses some tree branches and a bamboo pole. Called a teepee trellis. I know you guys have seen me grow with these before, but I'm going to stick it right here in this 15-gallon Smart Pots. So easy. You just pop it right in. And the reason why I love these trellises that I'm going to show you today is because they have such a natural, beautiful look. So they beautify your space at the same time. This is just formed in the shape of a teepee, tied together at the top with twine. So easy. You can make it yourself in about 5 or 10 minutes. Now you guys are gonna love this one. I'm so excited about this. This we made just this week out of some tree branches that we trimmed. This is a ladder trellis, and I made it to fit the 6-foot long raised bed. Can you imagine all the veggies that we're gonna be able to grow on this? So you can see here that 2 end pieces are made out of a piece of sturdy tree branch. I made them a little bit longer just so they can fit down into the soil. The middle piece is a little bit longer as well. I'm going to push them down in here. So this you can really custom make to your space. Put as many little pieces of the ladder as you want, depending on the space that you have, and then you secure them together at the joints here with twine. So I'm just going to actually secure them to the deck rail so it's a little bit more sturdy. Then I'm going to show you the last one, which is my favorite one. Well, I really got creative with this one, guys. I can't wait to show it to you. It's going to go right here in the corner in this 15-gallon natural colored Smart Pots. It's another version of a ladder trellis, but with a whimsical twist. So we've got our tree branches. We've got it secured at the corners. And look what's in the middle here. Cali Kim. So I want you guys to get creative in your garden space. Use your tree branches, borrow some from a neighbor, use a stake, use a pole, use whatever you can, but get creative and grow up, not out. Now let's jump right into planting. When you're planting vegetables in containers, especially in a small space, you want to put them in the spot where they get the most sun exposure, with the tallest plants being in the back so they don't shade out the smaller plants. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to kind of lay out the garden here so we get a visual of how things are going to look. So I'm going to start here with a teepee trellis, and since I want to grow vining plants on this, I'm going to grow some cucumbers. These are Space Master cucumbers from my Container Garden Seed Collection. They're a more compact type of cucumber, only grow to about 3 or 4 feet tall. So they'll be perfect right there. Now, along the 6-foot long raised bed in the back, we're going to grow some sugar baby watermelon. We're going to actually grow 2 little transplants and then plant some seeds as well. So these were started from seed from my Container Garden Seed Collection. I'm going to put 1 little transplant on one end, 1 on the other. We'll plant seeds in the middle. And that way we have things ready to harvest at different times. Now, down the middle of the 6-foot long raised bed, we are going to plant some tiny Tim tomatoes. These are an absolutely lovely type of tomato. They're a dwarf tomato plant. They're just so cute. They only grow to about 2 feet tall. They're very productive. In fact, we've got one right over here. that's just absolutely loaded down with little baby cherry tomatoes. They're so delicious. So these will be perfect grown here in the middle. We're going to maximize every little spot that we have here in this garden bed. And all the vegetables we're going to plant are from the Container Garden seed collection. And you can grab one over at CalicumGardenandHome.com and then get yourself some seeds and vegetables planted. Well, the Sugar Baby watermelon will grow up this trellis. They're a nice compact size of watermelon. Since they're growing behind the tomatoes, they won't shade it out. Tomatoes and basil always go well together. We're going to put some basil right in between the tomatoes. And we're also going to plant some Lilliput zinnias. These are a dwarf zinnia, and I love planting flowers in with vegetables because it brings in the pollinators. Especially important if you live on a balcony and you don't have a lot of flowers around. Make sure that you plant some flowers in with your vegetables. Now, we're going to make the most of our space by planting some scallop squash. This is a smaller variety of squash, and it's so beautiful. So I'm just going to put this right here, and we're also going to plant some seeds. In case you're still wondering if there's still time left in the growing season to grow vegetables, there absolutely are. Most of these veggies, because they are smaller in size, go from seed to harvest in about 6 to 8 weeks. Like these Space Master cucumbers, they're going to be ready to eat in about 8 weeks. So we're going to pop some more of those right here by my initial CK trellis. I just love this trellis. I hope you guys make one too. And then we've got our 3 beautiful brand new Smart Pots colors here, the mandarin orange, the berry blue, and the violet. And I think some kale is going to look really pretty here in the berry blue. This is the red Russian kale. So we're going to put some in there. And maybe also some chard in there. Kale and chard are both heat tolerant vegetables. So we'll put a couple of the peat pellets that we started, and we'll also put some seeds in here once we actually get to planting. Now in the violet colored Smart Pots, I'm actually going to plant some lettuce. And I'm planting this behind the kale. I'm going to plant it from seed here because lettuce likes cool weather, and it's starting to get a little bit hot here. As the kale grows, it'll shade out the lettuce and help it last that much longer. So in our mandarin orange Smart Pots here, I'm going to plant some peppers. These are one of my favorite peppers, the California Wonder, a beautiful red thick-walled pepper. Absolutely delicious on the grill or in pepper jelly. So I can't wait to try those. Now here in the Calikim Purple Smart Pots, we're going to plant some beans. Now beans are best when you grow them directly from seed. So we're going to plant the Blue Lake bush beans right in here. And if you're gardening with kids, you got to grab them one of these. They're going to love having their own container. Wouldn't it be fun if you even made them their own little trellis with their initials on it? All right, time to plant now. Now, what do you guys think? I think it's looking really good. So you definitely want to lay out your plants so you get an idea of how everything's going to fit before you make a commitment. Oh, and another thing, what if you decided you wanted this violet Smart Pots over on this side of your garden? You just pull it over. They're so portable. That's one of the things I love about growing in Smart Pots. Next, we're going to dig right in and start planting. We're going to start right off with the Space Master cucumber. Started this from seed about 3 to 4 weeks ago, and I transplanted it in this little Smart Pots transplanter, which you can see is really handy. It just peels apart to make the cucumbers super easy to transplant. I'll pull it right out of here, and we're going to plant a cucumber plant at each one of the little trellis teepee legs here. And it's so easy to plant in containers, especially in the good dirt soil, which we're growing in here because it's nice and light and fluffy, very loose. So we're just going to dig a little hole here for our plant. Put it right at the base of the trellis leg here so it can climb its way on up. Not only does growing vertically on a trellis help support your plant, but it also helps keep your plant off the ground, which really helps protect it from diseases and from pests, gives it more airflow, and it just looks so pretty too, I think. So we'll just pop them in the little holes here, press them down, put a little marker so I can remember what I'm growing. I'm also going to plant some seeds because I like to have cucumbers ready to harvest at different stages. You can direct seed cucumbers right in your container. So I'm just going to drop a couple of seeds at the little base of the trellis. Cover it up with soil a little bit. Pat it down. And that way, when the first cucumber plants I have in there are done producing, there'll be another one there to take its place. So we are just going to move right down the line here and get our vegetables and our fruits planted. The next one's going to be the Sugar Baby watermelon. I'm going to start at the back of the 6-foot-long raised bed here. Just pull it out of the transplanter. First, I'm going to dig my hole right next to my ladder trellis. Just gonna pull this right out, pop it right in that hole. And this good dirt soil here has been planted in for 3 or 4 years, and we added a couple more inches of fresh soil on the top on last week's video, so go back and watch that so you know exactly what to do, just to give the container soil some new life and nutrients to grow our plants. So we've got our sugar baby watermelon in there, and we're gonna pop in our Tiny Tim tomato while we're at it. This I grew in peat pellets, started them indoors under grow lights. And I've been transitioning them off to the outdoors over the past couple of weeks, and they're all ready to be planted. So we'll just pop it right in here. You can also see I'm using drip irrigation. And we are gonna do another video on watering because there are some specific watering tips that really help you with containers. We've got our Tiny Tim tomato in there, which by the way is a determinate tomato, which means that it's gonna produce over a couple month period of time, and then the plant will die off. So it's a perfect container plant. So now let's pop in our basil. Again, started from seed indoors. And we're gonna pop it out of the transplanter here. Now, one thing about the 6-foot long raised beds is that they have these little dividers in here just to give the planter some stability. So that really makes it handy to plant in, and it holds up really, really well to all this soil we have. So we're just gonna pop in our basil. Oh, I can just taste the tomato basil salad now, can't you? It just smells so, so good. Now we are gonna maximize every inch of space here that we have in the 6-foot long raised bed. We're gonna plant some bush scallop squash right along the edge so it will spill over and make a really, really pretty statement here, but also be a productive vegetable. This is a small, compact squash. And if you've never had scallop squash, you are in for a treat. So delicious, so beautiful, and wait till you see its scalloped edges. You are gonna absolutely love it. So we're just gonna plant this in the same way. We're digging a hole, putting our squash plant in, and I'm gonna kind of direct the vines over the edge of the container there so that it spills over the edge and looks so pretty. So we're gonna plant a couple of seeds just about 6 or 8 inches away from our squash transplant. And again, that way we have squash ready to harvest at different times throughout the growing season. It's a great strategy called succession planting, which spreads your harvest out and allows you to grow a lot of veggies during the growing season. Okay, it's time for another Tiny Tim tomato right in the middle here. This garden bed is gonna be so beautiful, and these veggies, oh, I can't wait to taste them. And again, right behind here, we're gonna plant some sugar baby watermelon seeds so that we have watermelon ready to harvest at different times too. Now, if you've never grown sugar baby, you are in for a treat. It's a nice compact size, about 8 to 10 pounds, grows very well in containers, and is really well suited to growing vertically on a trellis as well. So we're just gonna drop in a little seed there. In between my tomato plants, I'm going to plant some Lilliput zinnias. Now typically regular size zinnias are 3 to 4 feet tall. The Lilliputs are 1 to 2 feet tall, beautiful, brilliant flowers. The bees are going to absolutely love them, and they'll come flocking to your garden to take a look at the flowers and then pollinate your vegetables as well. I've got 2 more plants I'm just going to pop right in. Sugar baby watermelon at the back here, a Tiny Tim tomato, and then we're ready to move on. As your Tiny Tim grows, it will benefit from a little bit of support. So I'll probably come back later on and pop in a small sized tomato cage, which works perfect to support the Tiny Tim tomatoes. Well, I'm getting really excited now, guys. We have one of our garden beds planted, and since I absolutely love cucumbers, I'm gonna plant some more. So we're gonna put some more Space Master cucumbers in the tan smart pots here. And right along this trellis, it is gonna be so much fun to see these grow up over my CK trellis. And see lots of tasty cucumbers hanging down. Now moving on to the violet smart pots with the lettuce. This is going to be so pretty. I'm going to plant 2 different kinds of lettuce, the red romaine from the container seed collection, and I grabbed some from my lettuce seed collection, the Grand Rapids lettuce. So we're going to have red, purple, and green. It's just going to be so pretty. So growing a container garden is also about the color pop. You want to enjoy your garden, have some really attractive looking containers like the smart pot so that your garden is not only going to grow you veggies, but also be something beautiful that you'll enjoy as well. So when you're planting lettuce, we're going to plant them directly from seed here right in the container. Just pour some of the seeds in my hand. This is the red romaine. And this 15-gallon smart pots can hold quite a bit of lettuce. So I'm just going to take a pinch in between my fingers, sprinkle it along the drip irrigation hose. Don't be too worried about spacing. You can always go in later and thin it out. So plant half with the red romaine and half with the Grand Rapids. Now we'll sprinkle in some Grand Rapids seeds. And lettuce is so easy to grow and to plant. It needs light to germinate, so you don't even have to cover it with soil. You just sprinkle the seeds in, lightly press it down, and we're going to water everything when we're all done planting. We're going to pop in some kale and some chard in the berry blue smart pots. Kale and chard are both very heat tolerant and also cold tolerant. They can take a frost, but they also hold up to very hot temperatures here in Southern California. And they're going to help shade out the lettuce, which is a cool weather vegetable, doesn't like the heat. So providing the lettuce with a little bit of shade right behind in the violet smart pots will really help it continue to grow during the hot summer. So we're going to pop one of the red Russian kale right in the middle here. Now these I started from seed indoors, but you can also plant kale directly from seed right in your containers. It grows very well from seed. And we're going to pop in some of the chard, started from seed indoors, and also plant some chard seeds as well. This red chard is just so beautiful. It has beautiful red stems, and we love eating kale and chard in our smoothies in the morning. So I'm going to space out the chard seeds every 6 inches or so. Just pop the seeds in the soil, cover it with a little bit of potting mix. Now it's time to plant one of my favorite containers, the Callie Kim Purple Mini Raised Bed. Has about 3 feet of growing space. So we're going to grow beans in here. These are Blue Lake bush beans. And we're just going to poke a little seed right in the soil. The fun thing about growing beans is they grow so fast, grow from seed to harvest in about 6 weeks. They'll sprout in about a week or so. And they just look so beautiful growing in this purple mini raised bed here. Just poking it in the soil right along the drip irrigation hose, covering them up. So quick and easy to plant. You're going to love growing your own beans. Now what we're going to plant in the mandarin orange are the California Wonder Peppers. Oh, these are so delicious. I cannot wait to be grilling these up. Now you can actually fit a lot of peppers in one of these 15-gallon smart pots. Now peppers actually like to be planted close together, so we're going to plant 4 peppers in this 15-gallon here. Because when it gets really hot, the pepper leaves shade out the actual peppers on the other plants so that they don't get sun scald. And peppers really do best when you start them from seed indoors rather than direct seed them in a container. And they work really well when you start them in these peat pellets. And when you place a heat mat underneath, it really helps the peppers germinate faster. Now I've got one more container left to plant. This has been so much fun. The Callie Kim Black 5-gallon smart pots. And I've got to put a Tiny Tim tomato in here. I have 1 plant left. I love these and I love planting them all summer long. Since they grow from seed to harvest in about 60 days, you can easily get some new seeds started indoors and then plant them outside in just about 3 to 4 weeks. They're perfect in the Callie Kim smart pots. Last step, watering. Now when you first plant your vegetables, you want to give them a fertilizer that's high in nitrogen because that's what helps give them that good green leafy growth and really helps get them established. So we're going to water with Good Dirt Plant Food. Liquid fertilizer high in nitrogen. I'm going to put about 4 pumps here in my watering can. And I'm also going to add some of the Vermistera worm tea, which really helps your plants be healthy. Gives them that good beneficial bacteria. Put about 1/2 cup here in the watering can. Mix it up. And then I'm gonna water it in. When you're watering containers, you want to water until it drains out the bottom of your containers so they get good and soaked down. And I will be doing a whole separate video on watering tips and fertilizing tips, because your containers need watering a lot more often than your in-ground garden because they dry out a lot quicker. So we'll be covering that in the next video. Well, after a day in the garden, I always enjoy just sitting back, looking at what I've done for the day and just enjoying myself. I think it's really starting to take shape, and I cannot wait to start eating those yummy, tasty veggies. I want to thank Smart Pots for partnering with us on this series, and grab yourself a container garden seed collection and my book, Organic Gardening for Everyone. You can save $5 when you buy the book seed bundle. And comment below and let me know if you'll be growing in containers along with me. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.